and welcome to the FanFiction Book Club podcast, a weekly podcast that explores the good, the bad, and the cringy of fanfiction, hosted by me, Poppy, and my lovely co-hosts, SG.
Hey!
Ollie.
Hiya!
And Tstan.
Hello!
Every month, we scour the internet to bring you 4 different fanfic reads, and our theme this week is Super Mario. Check out our website at fanfictionbookclub.com or follow us on Twitter and Instagram at fanfictionados for the full lineup of our stories for the month and to connect with us on the web. Okay, so our story this week was called Man of War, and it is by Drones of Innocence on fanfiction.net. Was published in 2019, October of 2019, and on Halloween, actually. And it's about 15,000 words. It's just a one-shot fanfic, and it follows the plot of Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door. And it's like, the whole concept of it is when Mario and his gang of sidekicks are battling the final boss, spoilers for Thousand Year Door, they're battling the final boss of the Shadow Queen, and the Shadow Queen gives him the option, will you serve me? And Mario says yes instead of no. And then that's like the basis of the story. Goes in where the Shadow Queen, like, it puts Mario to sleep and like wakes him up to like periodically to like pillage and storm like lands, and like uses him as a weapon and then puts him back to sleep, and he's like dreaming different things and serving the queen, and eventually he starts to realize that what he's doing is wrong, and he is trying to fight it, but then the queen's like, I will give you 1,000 nightmares for this. And so then he's going into like one nightmare, and then he wakes up in a different nightmare, and he wakes up in a different nightmare, and it's just like, it's a lot of dreams. This is a lot of dreams. Also, this story is very confusing if you don't know the plot of Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door.
I second that.
So, yeah, be aware of that. What did you guys... To continue on with the plot, huh?
I think that was enough to kind of get us started. So, I thought this was a really interesting way of approaching this story of it being from Mario's, like a limited third person of Mario's perspective, instead of doing like an omniscient third person that would know everything going on. And because of his limited third person perspective, it's very disorienting how he's experiencing what's going on around him. Yeah. And I kind of teetered between, is this like really good writing that the author is doing where you're really disoriented, or did they do a bad job of explaining what was happening? I wasn't sure which one it was because I wasn't familiar with the story that this is referencing with the Shadow Queen, but there were some points where I felt like the description of him being disoriented could have been better put than it was. It was almost confusing, but not confusing in an intentional way at certain points in the story. But I did think it was interesting, and I mean it was a passable attempt at writing that disorientation, and then him interacting with Peach later on in the story, not quite knowing if that's fiction or reality or dreamland happening. Yeah.
I mean, I like I understand, like, with the whole thing is he's dreaming and he doesn't really realize that he's dreaming, and then when he starts to figure it out, he's like, oh, this is a dream. So, but some of them feel really real. So it's like, well, does he just think it's a dream and it's real? And it's like, that's probably what the author was going for, but it was
confusing.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that part though. I like not knowing what was going on. That just kind of made me want to read more. Like, I don't know the story of this, what this is referring to. So what was real, what wasn't real? Was that really Peach in his dreams? Like, and it made me want to read more. And I actually enjoyed this story quite a bit. I liked how it was very dark.
Yeah, it was very dark, definitely.
Yeah.
It was nice to see the juxtaposition between, like, even if you don't know Paper Mario or anything like that, they're very happy games.
Yeah, everything's very bright and colorful.
It's definitely a game that you look at and go like, okay, this is for children.
So
it was nice to see something like darker in that world.
Yeah,
but
totally.
It was very disorienting. At least for me, I had a hard time keeping up versus like what was it real, what wasn't.
Was it having a hard time keeping up, or was it having a hard time like staying interested in what was happening?
Both. I'm gonna go with both. I know that personally, and I feel bad saying this out loud, but I skimmed through most of the like nightmare section because it just didn't appeal to me. I was just like, okay, cool. He doesn't know what's dream and what's real. Bah.
Yeah.
I'm just not a big fan of those types of narratives.
Yeah, I get it. I've never been a fan of in writing a character being like kind of stuck in a dream, like they wake up and they think it's real, but it's a dream. Because like seeing it like in a movie or a TV show, like you can kind of tell because it's like it's lit differently or like it sounds different or something like that, but in word form it's really hard to get that what's real and what's not, and that's probably what the author was going for. So if that's what they were going for, great, woo, yeah, you did it. And I'm sure that is what they were going. So Mario, he accepts Shadow Queen, and then he ends up in like these dreams, the nightmares. The first nightmare, he wakes up and all of his companions, he's in Paper Mario, he's got 5 companions that you can like switch between, and they all have different abilities and stuff. So all of his companions are dead. And then he goes and he sees Peach, and she's alive, and he's like, we gotta go, and she's like, okay, but then like the ceiling crumbles down and crushes her, and she's dead. And he wakes up, and it's like Peach is there again, and she goes to like kiss him, but then she's like, haha, just kidding, I could never love anyone like you. And then he's like, I'm sad, and then wakes up again. And I guess like that happens a lot, but the next dream that we see is Mario running to save Peach from an execution. Peach is about to be executed for being the Shadow Queen, and he goes and he saves her, and they run. And this is actually a really nice dream. And he tells her that he loves her. And she's like, come drink water and you'll be okay. And he drinks the water and he feels better. And she's like, you can break out of this. You can do this. And then he wakes up again. But I think the next time he wakes up is the real one, I think.
Yeah, because kind of you find out later in the story that Princess Peach has been, and I didn't know she had I guess she has magical powers, but I didn't realize she had this much magic to her.
She does in the game.
She does in that game specifically. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because she's slowly, you find out through the story that she's been trying to communicate with Mario as the story goes on. So as he becomes controlled by the Shadow Queen, he has these lucid moments where he kind of wakes up and he's like, I don't know where I am. And he hears, what does she say? Something about a solstice or something.
So the summer solstice is coming. That's when the light is the brightest.
Yeah.
And then we can take her out because the Shadow Queen is all about darkness and she doesn't let any light in and stuff. So yeah, summer solstice is the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Which doesn't actually really come into play in the end.
I mean, I guess it kind of came into play because supposedly the summer solstice happened when Peach was able to connect with and find his physical body because she was only able to communicate with him through his dreams. And I wasn't quite understanding how, because at some points she just like passed off an idea to him, but somehow she ended up inside of his dream about Peach being executed, but she wasn't in that dream too. Like she was able to fit herself into it. I'm not sure how
she like astral projected herself like into her dream.
Yeah.
Into his dream.
Into his dream about her. But then she's eventually able to find the physical him and they're able to leave. And Mario is just like in a total broken down state from kind of the mental torture of going through all of these experiences of somebody that he loves and cares for dying in front of his eyes in 1,000 different ways. Did she get to 1,000 or did Peach end up getting to him before she got to 1,000?
I have no idea. Because he says he watched her die like 100 times. So it might have just been like 100 or hundreds.
I didn't know if he literally counted or if that was just an expression.
I feel like it was just an expression. So I don't know. Yeah, she broke him out early and he wakes up and is in the middle of the final battle again. And it's like, oh, I don't know how long he was asleep during this entire time. Yeah. Just a couple minutes or something.
I don't know.
But yeah, he wakes up and like, oh, it's a battle time. And Peach is like, take the last of my power, and then like shines a light, and then he gets all of his health back, and the Shadow Queen, the Shadow Queen is, do you disobey me? And they fight the Shadow Queen, and they win, and it's great. And then Mario and Peach leave the town to go back home, and Mario's like, dreaming, and the princess is like, no, here's what happened. I was able to help you out of those dreams, and I didn't know how many dreams she had put you through at that point, but I got to you, and this is real. This is super real. Also, I love you too. And then they both fall asleep, and it's really sweet.
Did you guys like that it had a happy ending, considering how dark it started out?
Yeah, I don't think I could handle it if it didn't have a happy
ending. I feel like such a horrible person. That would have been so interesting if he was just like completely scarred and he just couldn't see Peach as a real person anymore.
I mean, to be fair though, it doesn't really go into that much detail about that happy ending. So if you want to believe that he is totally traumatized, like,
that's my canon.
He probably is totally traumatized, and he will be for a long time.
That's what I got from him asking the last time if everything was real. I was like, oh, this is going to mess him up for a while.
Yeah. I almost kind of wanted it to end like wakes up from another dream, like he was still in the dream state. Kind of wanted it not to have like a bow at the end, just to make it more interesting. I like that it had a bow at the end and that, you know, he was with his love and things were going to work out, even though he's still probably going to be really messed up. But I don't know.
I mean,
but at the same time, he was afraid to go to sleep. Like, he was really scared to go to sleep because he didn't want the happiness to end. So
I know several authors who were just like, yeah, I wrote this because I didn't want to be attacked by the fandom.
I mean,
yeah.
does the fandom come for people on fanfiction.net though?
I mean, they've got their comments.
What are there any comments on this one?
I don't know.
Let's check it out. Maybe that'll be a regular thing we add, is reading the comments.
Yeah, the comments.
But there are 4 reviews.
Oh, what do they say?
Let's see. Smash Bros fan 96 Jr. said,
"Oh Jesus."
As someone who played the Thousand Year Door multiple times, this is one of my favorite takes on the Shadow Queen. And I absolutely love how hopeless everything is and how she mentally tortures Mario. Although I wish he was more aware of what he was doing under the Queen's control instead of being a spaced out mess. And stories like these make me wish I did a lot more with my version of her, where she never vanished, created a new body, and with the help of her new servant and the crystal stars, some make me go, wow, I wish I thought of that. Okay, so obviously this guy wrote a fan fiction. The ending of that comment was weird. Anyways.
Okay.
La Lay said, that was an awesome, epic story. I loved all the myriad plot twists and the depths of the dreams, and I loved that after all the darkness, there was a happy ending. The one with Peach being hanged reminds me of this fan art going around where Toad executes her. XD. I'm glad that one wasn't real. And then Metablade said, wow, I have no words except to say that this is one of the best Mario fanfics I've ever read. I'm seriously in love with the way you depicted the dark atmosphere and the emotional torture Mario must be going through. The nightmares, the transitions from each scene to the next, and the well-worded descriptions really pulled me in. It's a beautiful, amazingly dark story. The ending was bittersweet and adorable at the same time. Hats off to you. So yeah, everyone likes it.
Oh, that's good.
And I did enjoy it. I found it confusing at times, which I think was just what they were going for. So
yeah. I appreciated that. I guess going into the Mario fandom for this month, I wasn't quite sure what to expect from the types of stories that they would tell. Like, are they all just like really silly, or just Mario Peach coupley fanfic things, or like what's the breakdown of the different types of stories that people are telling? And I was pleasantly surprised at this one that it took a darker had a darker perspective on the Mario franchise. So yeah. I did like that, and like I said, I like the idea of where they were going with having him disoriented and everything. I think maybe just with like a little more proofreading, and maybe having a beta reader or something that could have told them like, this is confusing, but I don't think it's confusing in the way that you want it to be. I think this could have been like a really good, like a really, really good story instead of just like an all right good story.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, they still, I think they still did a good job. Something I totally was not expecting from this fandom. How did you find this story, Poppy? Or what kind of drew you to picking it for the group?
I was just looking through fanfiction.net, just trying to find something that looked good. Like, because my last pick, for those of you who listened to our Cinderella podcast last month, my pick for Cinderella was just bad. So I was looking for something to redeem myself.
I think this is redeemable. I think it's redeemable.
Yeah. I think I did that. So that's where my head was.
Snaps to Poppy.
Thanks.
So, in terms of character development, what did you think of how the author portrayed the characters?
Liked it. Like, Shadow Queen was evil and dark, which was great. That's what she is. And Peach wanted to help Mario as much as she could, but she couldn't because she was trapped. And Mario, this was a very big character diversion for Mario, as he gave in to the villain. He does not ever do that. So that was interesting, but I did liked it. So yeah, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
For sure that you have to really know the characters from Thousand Year Door. But just in terms of a generic villain, I think that it was done really well. I'm not familiar with the Paper Mario series, so I didn't understand half of these names. But
Yeah.
but I definitely got the gist through the story. It wasn't like completely blindsided. I have no idea what they're talking about. Oh god.
Yeah.
For the Shadow Queen, what did you guys think about that kissing aspect of her, like, manipulation of Mario? Does the Shadow Queen wear Peach's body?
Yes. So in the 1,000-Year Door, the Shadow Queen is like this is the 1,000-year-old monster that's locked away behind the 1,000-Year Door. Like, bad guys get into the 1,000-Year Door, and they've kidnapped Peach to be a vessel for the Shadow Queen, so that the Shadow Queen has a body.
Okay, I read that
so
right.
that she can control everything. Yeah. So
then
Shadow Queen is inside of Peach.
So Shadow Queen is inside of Peach prior to Mario coming and starting that final battle. Like, saving Peach is the objective.
Yes.
I guess I was confused on that because I thought she was just wearing, like, she just looked like Peach.
Yeah, that's why I wanted clarification, because I wasn't sure if, like, because they had that weird, like, kissing thing where he liked her kissing him or whatever, and she was, like, really cold and stuff, like Edward.
Yeah. Like
or something.
I'll bring Twilight in this.
Yeah, I got Twilight vibes from those moments. But, yeah, I wasn't quite sure if she was just using Peach's body to manipulate him or something, if he even recognized that she was Peach, because it didn't seem like he acknowledged her as Peach when
I don't know
when she was a vessel for this entity.
In the game, he knows. I don't know if in this story he did. When he was like all
when he was all controlled out.
If I knew more about the game, I wouldn't have been so confused, because I felt like Mario was very confused with everything going on. So, like, I felt like the author was trying to put us into Mario's head. So, a lot of things I didn't understand, but I thought I was meant not to understand.
So, did we have any other comments on characters?
Not from me. I'm good.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I guess we can move on to the writing. I know I've kind of talked about the writing style a bit already, but kind of in general, what are your thoughts on the writing?
Well, I mean, ignoring that some of it was confusing, I thought there's really good description. Like when Mario was describing the queen, he just used really very, like, strong images. Like, I really got a good sense of who the queen was, how dark and lonely he was feeling. A lot of very sensory imagery going on. I thought it was well written, but yes, I was just very confused throughout the story. But I felt like the confusion was supposed to be intentional, but I don't know. I liked the story overall.
And the author did do a lot. The author did do well with describing, like, the sensations Mario was feeling. Like, he was cold, or like he was scared, but also like tempted by the queen. And it's like, you could get why he fell into her trap, you know?
I agree. And I'm also going back to what I was saying before about, having it be kind of disorienting timeline-wise. But I felt like the descriptors were really, really good. I just wish there'd been, I don't know, more dialogue between him and Peach or the Queen or something. I felt like it was too much, a little too much exposition.
Mm-hmm.
But I can also see where that would be, like, the point. Where it's all, like, he's noticing things in his environment, not so much hearing things. So.
Yeah, I think that the breakdown of the story to being like 3/4 exposition to 1/4 dialogue, I think it makes sense. It just could have been executed a little tiny bit better. But these are just like fan-made stories, so that's just me being nitpicky. Because I think that the author's writing style, the language was easy to follow even if the concept kind of wasn't at certain points when Mario was disoriented. But as the story goes on and his mind kind of clears up and we're getting into the dreamscapes, I think the author did a good job of describing those environments so that you could follow what was happening in those situations specifically. And then the dialogue between Peach and Mario was minimal, but it made sense because they're just kind of in a traumatic situation and they don't really have time to have full-fledged conversations. It's just kind of like a sentence here and there to kind of help Mario feel a little more solid as a person since he's been through this disorienting experience and traumatic experience.
True. Yeah.
So I think that as the story went on, the writing got better for me and the choices that the author made with the dialogue and with the descriptions made sense in the context of how they were used. So I think that the writing was good and I could follow it as it was being written. It was just some of the concepts at the beginning could have been executed better. But there weren't like glaring spelling issues or sentence structure problems or anything like that that took me out of it.
I thought it was cool that in the author's comment section part, she was saying she was inspired by Lana Del Rey and Radiohead.
I noticed that.
I did not notice that. Was that down at the bottom?
Did you read the author notes?
Yeah, all the way at the bottom.
Gotta read the author
notes. Her catalyst writing this was Lana Del Rey's "Doing Time" rendition.
Yeah, there's a really long author's note at the weekend.
I love an author's note
at the end.
Yeah.
I almost never read the author's notes. I don't know why.
Well, if I'm just reading for myself, I never read the author's notes. But for this, I'll read them because I'm always curious what they're thinking.
The author's never read The 1,000-Year Door.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
She did research. She did research.
She absorbed it the same way we did. Just by osmosis, and then
it was pretty accurate to the game, so I'm impressed.
So Poppy, you did research after picking this one to know that, or have you played that game?
I watched the Game Grumps play through.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, you seem to have like a very distinct knowledge of this plot that I'm surprised about.
I've watched their playthrough a couple of times, so it's like I know what's supposed to happen. So it's like, but I've never played it myself.
Okay, so you'd be the only person in the group uniquely qualified to answer how well it stuck to the fandom.
Yeah, you.
So what do you think?
I think it went. She stuck to it pretty well. There was only one character, I think it was Miss Mouse, that she said was one of Mario's companions, and that character is not one of Mario's companions. That's just like this, like, it's like a rat thief that just shows up periodically throughout the game and isn't actually a companion. So that's like the one thing that she didn't really get right. But other than that, great. Turn to a canon in terms of canon.
Oh, that's good to know. That's interesting that she didn't actually play, but that was just interested by that concept. That's so funny, because I wonder how many fandoms are just people doing that. They don't necessarily know much about the fandom, but they get like a little idea bug in their head that just they need to get out in writing.
Probably more than we think.
Yeah,
probably.
That'll be interesting to see through the rest of the fandoms that we decide to do. If that's also included in the author's notes. If this person has ever actually watched the show, or whether or not that changes anything.
And it's weird in the Mario world, because none of us are really like, we're not huge fans of the Mario universe ourselves, so it's kind of difficult for us to compare things to the Mario canon, however limited it may be.
Yeah.
But going forward to other fandoms, that'll be interesting to kind of compare and think about. Because I always think about these people being like super fans. They're like, I know everything about this fandom, and I will write this the way it should have been written.
That's always how I envision it too.
Yeah. And there's occasionally people who just want to like explore ideas, and this individual seems to be one of them, which is very cool. Mm. I usually find that work more interesting. Because I feel like it comes from a more creative place than the super fans that are like, this is my truth. But
the ones that get angry that the show didn't end the way they wanted.
Yes, those ones. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Their author notes are so like whiny. They're like, this is how it should have ended. # not my Harry Potter or whatever.
With Harry Potter, it's always epilogue. What epilogue? Like, people totally disregard the epilogue and write their own stuff.
I was okay with the Harry Potter epilogue. It did not offend me.
I know. Some people think that it was like tied up too neatly, and it's like, I don't know.
I mean,
Harry Potter deserves a happy ending. He deserves to marry Ginny and have some children. Like, come on.
I mean, but like, how else would that have ended?
No.
I don't know how else it would have realistically ended, like, unless the Dementors won. I don't know that we're getting off topic.
Whatever. we can talk about that when we do Harry Potter.
When we do Harry Potter. We'll probably have to do Harry Potter a couple times. There's a lot to unpack in that fandom.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about Harry Potter, so
you do.
That might be a whole season.
Yeah.
I just want to add, still a little off topic, but is that I have been that person who was like, not my ending or whatever, and just the amount of anger it puts in a person, it's not healthy.
No, it isn't.
So if anyone's like thinking about that, just take a breath, step back. It's okay. It's fiction.
It's fiction.
Don't be mad.
So can you guys, I'm curious, like what content have you consumed that you've seen, read, or watched the ending of that just like created an angry reaction in you that like, this isn't how this should have ended? Like, is there anything
How I Met Your Mother.
Of? How I Met Your Mother?
Oh gosh.
I never followed that show.
I mean, it was a really good show. Like, the continuity of it was so good. Like, they had running gags that went through the entire show. And then the last season was solely dedicated on one weekend, one wedding. And then the season finale, the two people that got married got divorced. And they coupled them up with different people. It's like, what? Why would you do that? Why would you spend an entire season on one couple and then break them up?
Oh, jeez.
If you could rewrite it, you'd put them together.
Yeah.
And they'd stay together.
Yeah. Yes, they should have stayed together. Come on.
Is How I Met Your Mother on our list?
I was gonna say, do you hear that though? That's the anger.
I know that's the anger. I know I felt that anger, but I can't think of what I've watched or read recently that brought that anger out of me. It hasn't happened recently. I know that there's things that there is content I've consumed where I've been like, this is ridiculous. I'm never going to touch anything from this fandom ever again. This is the worst way this could have ended, and I'm so disappointed. I know I've had that feeling, but I can't think of what I've had it about.
No, it's like a lot of times it's just shows, like TV shows that go on for like a season too long.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like every TV show.
It's like
Game of Thrones.
Supernatural.
Supernatural's like in season 15, 16, 17.
Oh, please don't talk about it. Just don't.
Oh no.
What more do they have to do? I'm not even a Supernatural fan. I just know that it
should have ended after season 5. Like season 5 was the perfect wrap up. Supernatural.
Oh wow!
I stopped watching at season 9.
That's commitment.
You went farther than I did.
I usually only watch a show for 3 seasons, and if it goes on longer than that, it's gonna very, very rare that I'll keep watching. I'm trying to think of like what content have I consumed that. I'm sure the minute we end this, I'll think of what it was, and then it's irrelevant at that point. But I've been pretty careful lately about watching and reading things that I know I'm going to like. So, yeah.
It's part of the reason I don't go too far into like anime. Because I don't trust it.
I found this really cute one on Netflix. It's about the inner body, like almost like Ozzy and Trix, that American cartoon.
Is that Cells?
Yeah, the Cells one, and there's like a little red blood cell, and then there's like this really stoic white blood cell who just like murders everything. It's really cute. I
saw Dr. Mike react to that on YouTube.
Oh my god.
What did he say?
Yeah, I don't remember. It was a couple months ago. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
he liked it.
It was really cute. I'm only like 4 episodes in, so I'm not sure where it goes, but I like the characters. White blood cell is my favorite. He's got that stupid antenna on his head to like alert him when something happens. But yeah, that's a cute one. So anyway, did you guys have any other thoughts or comments on the story? Just like any interesting ideas it brought up in your head about the Mario fandom, the story specifically, about fan fiction in general?
For me.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we rate this out of 5 mushrooms? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What are your
Let's
thoughts?
just stick to mushrooms, yeah.
I'm gonna give this 4 mushrooms because I thought it was pretty good, but I think there is still room for improvement. So yeah, 4 out of 5.
I will also give a 4 out of 5 mushrooms. I enjoyed the story. I thought it was nice to get a perspective of Mario and like a darker view of the Mario world. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
What do you think, Tstan?
I would give it. Let's go 3 mushrooms. I thought it was well written, and it was, again, agreeing with Ollie, really interesting to see a darker side of it. but I just couldn't keep up. I don't know if it's my brain or just the way that it was written, but I got a little confused in the middle and then it kind of lost me. So, 3.
I would give this story, I would say 3.5, possibly 3 3/4 mushrooms.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm teetering between 3 and 4 for the reason that I kept bringing up, just that I think that with some like beta reading or something, the author could have gotten a second opinion on how to make the story disorienting and confusing without necessarily confusing the reader on the flow of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And just because that was like literally the first third of the story, like it was a pretty significant part of it that that proofreading was kind of missing from. So I think a 3.5 for that, but otherwise I did enjoy the story. I like the darker angle. I always like dark stories. So it was good. I think they did a good job, and I enjoyed reading it if I was a bit confused at the beginning.
Thank you for listening to the FanFiction Book Club. Our pick this week was Man of War by Drones of Innocence. You can find this story and more of the author's work on fanfiction.net. Theme song is Funkorama by Kevin MacLeod. You can find more of Kevin's music on incompetech.filmmusic.io/artists/Kevin-MacLeod. The works discussed on the FanFiction Book Club are not our own. All characters mentioned belong to their original authors. Until next week, bye!